What's up, everybody? I'm DaBlackMic. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how I set up my vocal chain and what's in it. Stay tuned.
Fire!
All right. So before we get started with everything, it's really important to understand what a vocal chain is. So a vocal chain is essentially a chain of effects that we process our vocals with. And today we're going to be talking about three major keys in that, well, that I use in my vocal chain. And that is preamplifier, better known as preamp or pre, an EQ or equalizer, and a compressor. Now, with the preamp, what I'll be doing is raising the signal high enough so you can hear it, and affect that signal without having a bunch of noise. Room noise, electrical noise, whatever noise is associated with that. The next thing would be the equalizer. Now with the equalizer, based on the characteristics of your microphone, you can tone down certain qualities or accentuate that by raising the volume of specific parts within the EQ or equalization spectrum. The next thing I would be doing is using a compressor. A compressor is used to reduce the dynamic range of a vocal or a sound. So with the compressor, the way I'll be using it is to pretty much tone down my voice so that it will not get loud past a certain point and reduce that loud volume, bringing it down to something that's a bit more manageable. So I don't seem too loud, I don't seem too low. And I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with that in a few. All right, so as we get into it, everyone's DAW or everyone's equipment is going to be different, but the fundamentals of it all are the same. You're going to be plugging your microphone via XLR cable into your preamp or your audio interface. In this case, I'm using the Apollo Twin or a bunch of Apollos, but I got my microphone directly connected into my Apollo Twin. Now, once in the Apollo Twin, I have a bunch of emulated pieces of software, which I have grown to love. If I had the analog stuff, I'll be using that as well. So first off is the preamp. Now preamp gives you that volume that you need. So I'm going to be messing with the preamp here to show you what the differences would sound like. So this is at optimal volume for me. So this is a little lower, 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 lower. But that's no good. So we're going to bring it up to about here where I originally had it. Any louder, you begin to distort, and you already know how you'll be recording. So this is the sweet spot for my particular microphone, and I'm using the Slate mic, which is amazing. No emulator on it. I just love the way that it sounds as is. Now, once I get this set up, you can choose, in this particular one, this preamp is called the Neve 1073. This is a very classic preamp. I use it all the time. Whenever I can use an actual one, I do. It's amazing. It sounds good. And it also comes with an equalizer. You can choose to use this, but for the most part, before I get into and this is all vocal processing prior to going into my particular DAW. So I would like to limit the amount of effects processing prior to getting into the DAW, because once I'm in the DAW, I choose to see how it sounds and I affect it even further. But this is my basic vocal chain setup. All right, so I'm not using any of the equalization, so I just leave that at that. So moving along, I go right into one of my favorite, the API channel strip. Now, it's like an all-in-one bad mamma jamma. I love it to death. It's a channel strip. So essentially, I'm recording through an API board. So the first thing you see here is another preamp. I don't really have it doing much, but I do have it balanced off. So whatever gain I increase here, just for the emulated characteristic, I reduce it by here. So just so I can hear, the emulated sounds and characteristics of this particular signal chain, I reduce it so that it's not really affected either way. So I bring it up here, I bring it down here, immediately about the same value, right? All right, so moving on, I do have a bit of a filter on it. So I want to get rid of any unwanted low frequency. So this is what it would sound like with a bit more low frequency, but I bring it up here, cut off those low ends because they don't really matter, right? So that's that. I don't need a high pass. A high pass would simply, a low pass. A low pass would simply cut off my highs, and I want the clarity of my voice. So just give me all that good high end. That's what I really need, right? So next, what I do have is a gate. Now, I don't know about a lot of you guys in your recording situations, but I do not have a treated room. At best, I've got this chaotic eyeball, which is just a reflection filter and just helps with, minimizing room ambiance. So that's what that's for. But the gate, now what that does is it blocks out any unwanted noise. So look at it like a gate. The gate closes when you're done passing through. And the response that you have is how fast it closes. So here's my microphone with the gate off, where you can hear the hum of my room, probably my kids outside, and the fan of my computer and all that. But when I engage the gate, I no longer hear the unnecessary sounds when I don't want to hear it. So this is paramount for a lot of different reasons. No, not really. Just for one main reason, which is just to stop the unwanted noise from entering. So I've got it in a very sweet spot to where it closes in a way where it doesn't seem unrealistic. I can have it go faster as far as like the gate closing. As you can see how that sounds. It just gets super quiet really fast as soon as I stop talking or any loud enough signal stops passing through the microphone. Now that doesn't sound bad, but I do want something that sounds a bit realistic just in case I might whisper or some lingering sound. So about 0.25 seconds is good enough for me. That's a sweet spot for me. The threshold is pretty much works on, how much sound needs to come through. And ideal for me is this, because any more, it's not engaged. So I need to raise up this threshold a bit to make it make sense. Anything about this loud will pass through, and that's the sweet spot here. And depth is how close the gate is. Again, I've got it already set to the sweet spot. So the gate isn't engaged. It doesn't close that much. This closes it all of the way. A little too much to my liking, so this makes a bit more sense. Gradual. All right, cool. I've got it on natural, and this will be fast, but natural works good for me. I've got it on expanse as opposed to gate hold, and REL, I don't know what that means. Doesn't matter, right? I don't have my compressor engaged because I'm choosing to use a much different compressor. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So as far as EQ, again, like I said, I wanted to keep it really lightly affected as possible because I know I'm going to be entering my vocals into a DAW, because this is all pre-DAW effects, courtesy of UAD console. So only thing I did was bump up my lows at 200 hertz with a not a bell, but a shelf. So my lows anywhere from the 100 hertz that I've got it cut off on the high pass up to 200 hertz. So anywhere from 100 to 200 is being bumped up 2 dB, right? And that just accentuates the low end of my voice, which is why I sound so sexy. So yeah. And again, every voice is different. And the whole point is understanding what you're working with, and you work accordingly. And a lot of the different variables will be as such what type of microphone you use, because every microphone has a different vocal characteristic, and what type of gear you're using. You may not be using a signal chain exactly the same as I am, but you would have a preamp. In any DAW, you have a preamp. Or audio interfaces have their preamps, which is a knob, anywhere down from UAD to the very common Scarlett 2i2. That black knob is the preamp, and it has a preamp built in. So you may be able to just skip over the preamp stage and just jump into whatever particular effects you decide to use, like your EQ and your compressor. Speaking of that, let's move on to my favorite compressor in the world. It is the TubeTech CL1B. The way that I do it is I've got the gain up. The gain usually starts at 0. I boost the gain up because just to give a bit more volume and to use the emulated circuits. So the gain will be about 0, which will be this, right? Isn't loud enough for me. So I usually set mine to about right here. 5 dB is what it says. But this is just, on a real CL1B, there is no like clear indication. Everything is about feel and hearing it. So around here is the ratio is about 6%. You could do anywhere from 4 to 6. I've got mine on 6, which is a light ratio. So when it comes to the threshold, I bring my threshold up to where it's kind of bouncing off the way that I speak, and it's bringing down some of those transients. So right around here, I wanted to bounce around 3 for the most part. Bounce around 3. And what that does, it doesn't reduce my gain by that much, just to keep it a bit even. I don't want it to squish my voice. This would squish my voice, right? I don't want that. Right here is what I want to just pretty much bounce to make it sound like even, clear, and concise. So around 3, that bounce is good. When I say 3, I'm talking about this right here. Check, 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 check. Okay, so this feels like it's supposed to. That's about right. So you have different options, and this is just a meter monitoring. See, I monitor what my input is, and this monitors my output. Me, I want to see the compression. I want to see about how much it compresses. And the attack and the gain just pretty much is that. I had to make sure I copied it just to, make sure I'm set, because I want it done. When you do this, when you set your vocal chain up, and if it works for your environment that you're in, it's great to just set it. It's there. It's a part of your template. So now you can just go. You don't have to really worry about it. If anything, spend time dialing in the specific sound that you want to have within your recordings. And this works for me. I set it. I don't know how long ago I set it, but I set it and I'm good. As a matter of fact, I set it when I moved into this room. Once I figured out how everything was working, I had my microphone that I wanted to use. I had the reflection filter, this chaotic eyeball, and I found my spot within my room that makes sense. I set it and I was done. So this attack right now, it's how fast the compressor, it kicks in. So I got it set not relatively fast, but straight down the middle. So it's not too fast, but fast enough where it picks up my vocals and it brings it down without making it sound unnatural. And the release, it kind of fades off a little, medium range. Not too fast, not too slow. Here's when it is when it's slow. So as soon as I'm done with my vocals, it just rushes back down to 0, no compression. So I want to make it sound real, easy, and not too crazy. So yeah, there's that. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is my vocal chain. Your vocal chain would differ. You may not be using the exact same gear. You probably wouldn't be using universal audio equipment or their plugins, but the essentials are the same. It's essentially the same, basically. Whether you're using waves, whether you're using Fab Filter, whether you're using DSP, whether you're using onboard or built-in plugins that come with your DAW. You can do this within Fruity Loops. The essentials are the same. It's basically the same, which is it. So all you have to do thereafter is understand and use the information I provided within this video and apply it to your particular DAW. And you'll be surprised that just a bit of patience, how the onboard effects of a lot of these DAWs are just like really amazing. So tinker around with these and get your own vocal chain. And if not, stay tuned, because I'm going to be putting together my own vocal chain and templates in a DAW. So here's what I like you guys to do. Comment below. Let me know what templates you'll like me to put together and what particular DAW that you use. With that said, I'm your boy, DaBlackMic. If you haven't already subscribed, if you haven't already clicked that like button, make sure that you do that. Comment below. Let me know what type of videos you would like to see and whether you thought this video was good. And if it was good, give me a thumbs up. DaBlackMic signing off. Peace.
Fire!